Hello everyone. In this quick guide, I want to go over the basics of blueprint programming in the Deadside Modkit. I know this can be an intimidating subject for people who are brand new to Unreal and modding in general, but it's really not as complicated as you might think, and I'm going to cover that in this guide. So first, let's cover the absolute basics. What are blueprints? Well, let me go over to the game content here, go in the blueprints folder, and here you can see it's most of the items in the game. So go to weapons, and today I want to work with the MG36. I'm going to go ahead and open it up. So this is where all the data is stored for the MG36. Here you have the event graph in the middle, which is where we're going to be working with today. And on the right, you have all the parameters. Now, parameters can be edited by your mod. Not all of them, but most of the important ones. Opening up static data here, this is something we can edit. Static data is how we're going to edit a lot of blueprints. But you can't make changes directly in this blueprint and then just upload in your mod. That's not going to work. Where you actually need to do your blueprint modding is in your mod registry. Whenever you make a new mod, this will always be there by default. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up. So blueprint programming is really simple. It just uses nodes that you connect together through an execution line. So to begin our program, we need to make something that triggers our program to execute, right? So we're going to search a node here. I'm going to type EventInit, and we're going to grab EventInit mod. So this red node here is going to trigger our blueprint program whenever the mod is initialized when the server loads the mod. So I think for this mod, I'm going to make the MG36 shoot really fast because that's just fun and it's a good example. So I'm going to grab the execution line here, drag it out, and that's going to automatically place a new node which is connected to the EventInit mod node. And I'm going to grab attack rate, static data set attack rate. Here you can see the two nodes are now connected through the execution line. So whenever the mod is loaded on server load up, it's going to set the rate of fire of whatever weapon I specify here. So we have class. This is going to be the class of the item you are editing. So MG, and then MG36. Set that right there. Now we can set the attack rate to, what's a good number? How about, 2000. Yeah, that's a reasonable. We might need a little bit more ammo, so let's get ammo here. Static data set max ammo. And a lot of your blueprint parameter editing is going to be done through static data. So again, MG36, and I'm going to set the value to 250 because I believe the max is 256. Now, if you right-click on your event graph, you can see all of the nodes you can possibly place. You do want to uncheck context sensitive so that you can see everything. And if you scroll down here, under the Modkit section is a lot of the nodes that you can use to edit blueprints. So let's go to weapon. Here's some of the weapon settings you can edit. Small arm shows even more. You can set drag, damage, effective range, stuff like that. Now, importantly, you want to stick to nodes that are only in the Modkit folder when working in the mod registry. Some of these other ones are just included with Unreal by default and might not necessarily work and probably won't work in your mod. Also important to point out, you don't want to leave any of these fields empty. For example, if I set this as none and try to run the mod, it will probably crash the editor and the server if you try to load this mod because it has an empty value. So make sure to fill everything out. If you are trying to play your mod in the editor and you get a fatal error from Unreal, it's probably because you forgot to connect something or fill in something here. So I think our mod is ready to test out. You're going to hit compile and then save. I'm going to close this for now. And then we're going to play in the editor. Whenever you're playing in the editor, make sure to set as play as client. And we're going to start her up here. This is just a practice shooting range I made for fun to play with weapon settings. You can make something like this pretty quickly. And here we see that our MG36 has a fire rate of 2000. Let's make sure it's loaded up here. Okay, hopefully this isn't too bad on the ears. Ah! We're getting a camera shake error, which happens whenever you turn the fire rate up so fast that you outrun the camera shake animation. So you don't actually want to do this realistically, but this is just an example for fun. So the last thing that I want to point out is the example mod that's included with the Modkit. If you open up the mod registry here, there is some pretty decent documentation and examples for you to learn from, and this was left by the developers for you. And this just has a list of example nodes that you can use, how to set them up correctly, what they do, and some of these things we'll be covering in future guide videos. But until then, I recommend you just open up this blueprint and take a look around if you're just a beginner to see how things are working. I hope you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching.